So this is a video about how to draw an ellipse, and it's come about from a request that was left as a comment on one of my previous videos. So if you've got any requests as well that you'd like me to cover in a video, drop the comment in the section below. I'll read them all, and then hopefully I'll keep picking them to help with my videos. So to start with drawing an ellipse, if I hold a little pot of cream that I've got here in front of the camera like this, you can see that the object that you can see, you would describe it as a circle, and if I tilt it like that, then the same object in a different view would be called an ellipse. If we were to split the circle up into quarters, so we've got two axes, we'd have the major axis here, which would be the longest length, and this distance between here and here would be the minor axis. As long as the minor axis is shorter than the major axis, then you will have an ellipse. So what I'm going to do is draw a couple of ellipses, and we'll turn them into something as we go along. So the first recommendation for drawing an ellipse is to have a warm up first. I've actually got 5 sheets of paper on my floor at the moment from warming up for drawing this video. I would find it really difficult just to be able to get my pen, turn on my camera and draw a perfect ellipse. The way that I'd recommend to do them is to draw them as quick as possible and try to have an ellipse as a real fluid way of drawing. So I'll show you what I do for a warm up first. The first thing is to move your hand really quickly. So imagine it's bonfire night, you've got a sparkler and you wave the sparkler in the air. I know you've all done this. The light pattern that you see left behind, almost like a ghosty image of where the sparkler used to be, that's how I like to imagine the pen. So this is called ghost lining, and when I can almost see that trail of pen, just like if I was playing with a sparkler, it's at one point I'll just drop the pen and I'll have a decent ellipse. Okay, and at some point you can see it's a bit faint and it becomes a bit stronger, and that's just because as the pen dropped, it was continuing to drop as it came round, and then I lifted off just as I got back to the starting point. Because what I'm hopefully teaching you is how to draw a sketch rather than a perfectly presentation drawing, you could then go over that and make it perfect afterwards. So I'll do a row across the top. I'll do one at a different angle, like that. So once I've got my row of ellipses, what I'll do is I often just like to join them together with a little arc. And if I just go around them now, right, and this one, it actually looks a little bit like a pot that I use for putting my contact lenses in. So I'll just put 2 little curves over the top there, and it gives a slight view with that sort of contour line that I've got a slight raise in the shape. So just to tidy it up again, and I had no idea that this is what I was going to draw a moment ago. Okay, the next shape here, I will do something at the bottom. So again, part of an ellipse. And this can be maybe like a little storage pot. With this one here, so notice how I turn my page, always making sure that I've got my, so the angle that I like to draw at, with me hand still on in the same sort of spot, so I don't really move my hand much, I might just move the paper around. Okay, so God knows what this is. It could be like a drum or some sort of like little container. In fact, it can be something for holding a tea light. So if I put a little opening here, so and you'll notice as well, don't worry that I've drawn over the top of something else. So I've got my drawings overlapped, it really doesn't matter. And here, a little dish, and put a tea light in here, some oil in the top, and as the oil gets hot, it'll make a room smell nice. So there's that. The next thing that I like to do with ellipses is to try to draw them two really quickly. Okay, so a little bit messy, but we'll make that into something as well. Right, so this is going to become a bar of soap. Okay, so I'm going to go drawing that one again, just try to keep my ellipse just a little bit neater. So it's getting there. So I think of all the shapes that I think an ellipse is still one that I'm working on myself to try to get to be better every time I draw it. And you'll notice sometimes I do these little contour lines. That just lets the eye think that the distance between this point and this point is actually made a little bit further by bending over the top. And then I sometimes will just do one straight line coming down at where maybe a point of light reflection would be, and it just lets the eye think that this has maybe dipped in, curved over, and then shot down. So okay, so I've got one sheet here with a few little shapes on. The next, just to fill this corner here, So I'll do something in the middle. So I ran out of space with this one, but I was actually thinking something like a wood burner. But I've got my bar of soap in front of it. Over, I'll just turn my page around just to make best use of it. So over here, I'm not even going to take on drawing a flower at the top, but it's a simple old representation of a flower vase that I've got downstairs. So you can see it's all a very scratchy looking page. Just stand up to have a look how it's looking, but it's a representation of a few different ideas that you could do with an ellipse. So as you'll see as you watch more of my videos, the style of drawing which I normally stick to, it's always quite scratchy, quick, a little bit rough looking, but for me it's more about communicating an idea rather than everything being pristine and perfect every time. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Whatever you draw yourself when you come to put this into practice, don't think too much about what the product is going to be. The only thing that I thought I was going to draw when I made this was a bar of soap. I didn't think that I was going to draw a tea light holder, a pencil pot, a contact lens holder, a flower vase, a half a wood burner, and some sort of little storage thing here. The only thing I'd planned to draw was this type of double ellipse, one on top of the other, with a little curve in it. So it really doesn't matter what it is you draw, as long as it's like a study of what you can do with ellipses. Okay, hope it's been useful. Thank you.